we must not hasten or attempt to hasten our spiritual journey. We must not attempt to get past this very point until we have come to the definite conclusion and conviction that the place whereon I stand is holy ground. For where I am, there is this presence. Where I am, in prison or out, in disease or out, in health or out, where I am at this moment, that presence is. He that is within me is. The Christ within is. The I that has come to comfort us is. The I that will never leave us nor forsake us is now within me. Wherever I may find myself at this particular moment of experience, I can go no further until I have come to this recognition, until I have come to this conviction, because my tomorrows will be no different than my yesterdays, until I do come to an inner assurance that there is this He within me, this I, because of whom I need not fear, because of whom I need not be afraid. Be not afraid, it is I. Fear not, I am with you. Therefore, do not leave this moment of revelation, even if it takes a month or a year. Do not try to go beyond this moment of revelation, regardless of how many months it may take, for you to reach the absolute inner conviction that where I am, God is. That I need never fear, I need never be afraid. This presence is with me. Because without this realized presence, you are not only the man of earth, you are the creature, the natural man, of whom Paul said, you are not under the law of God, neither indeed can be, and you receive not the things of God. It is only when you agree that the Spirit of God is with you, that the Spirit of God accompanies you, that the Spirit of God is upon you, that the Spirit of God goes where you go. Only when you come to this conviction are you fulfilling the statement that those who have the Spirit of God are children of God, heirs of God, joint heirs to all the heavenly riches. Only when the Spirit of God is with you. And this comes only through your recognition. It is only through your awareness of it, your consciousness of its presence, that it functions. Therefore, when you come to an agreement within your own consciousness that the Spirit of God is within me, that the Spirit of God goes before me to make the crooked places straight, the Spirit of God goes before me to prepare mansions for me, the Spirit of God dwelleth in me, the Spirit of God hath ordained me. Only when you have come into this agreement do you become children of God. And then you live no longer by effort, but by grace. You then inherit your good, not labor for it, struggle for it, strive for it. This in no wise means that you enter a life of indolence, because once the Spirit of God is upon you, you are called upon to fulfill God's mission for you, and that entails a lot of work, but no longer striving or struggling, and no longer seeking for things. And this is where the miracle takes place. This changes our entire concept of prayer. For now, we no longer pray for the things of this world. We no longer pray for what we shall eat or what we shall drink or wherewithal we shall be clothed or housed. We no longer pray for happiness. We no longer pray for security. We no longer pray for peace on earth. Our prayer now is a continuous inner communion with that Spirit which we have acknowledged. It is an inner living in the realization of this presence. Therefore, there's no need to pray for safety when I have acknowledged that there is the Spirit within me that says, fear not and be not afraid. There is no need to pray for abundance, since I am communing within with the very Spirit that says, I am come that you may have abundance. It is His good pleasure to give you the kingdom, not have you pray for it. The very presence of the Spirit is the assurance of abundance in all our ways. Abundant peace, abundant happiness, abundant joy. In thy presence is fulfillment. And therefore, our inner communing with this presence assures our fulfillment without praying for fulfillment. In other words, the nature of prayer is immediately changed. No longer do we take thought for anything that concerns our human life, because with the assurance of this inner presence and its function to give us life more abundant, we have nothing more to do with the outer plane of life except accept God's grace as it flows into and through our experience, and of course compelling us to share the 12 baskets full with those who have not yet realized that there is no use struggling for baskets full. Struggle only for the awareness that I, the Spirit of God, am within you. The baskets full will appear of their own accord. There is no use of struggling for health, even through prayer or treatment. Once you have realized that the function of the Spirit of God in you is to give you health abundantly. All there is to a spiritually fruitful life is this dwelling, living, consciously abiding in and with and through the presence. I can do all things. Am I so great? No. I can do all things through His Spirit in me. I can do all things through the indwelling Christ. I can do all things because His Spirit dwells in me. And it voices itself over and over and over again, saying, fear not, I am with you. Be not afraid. I am with you. I will never leave you. This is the presence of God speaking to you from within you after you have pondered this truth of Scripture, that I is really the way. I is really the way. The presence of I in you. The presence of the Spirit of God in you. The presence of the Son of God, the Christ, in you. When you raise up the Son of God in you, so that you hear, I will never leave thee. I am come that ye might have life and life abundant. When you have so raised up this Son of God in you, you are now child of God, heir of God. And you live now not by taking thought for your life, not by might nor by power, but by this indwelling Spirit. And it is the most wonderful thing that never again is it possible to be tempted to accept the belief that we must demonstrate anything other than the continuous realization of this indwelling presence, because it becomes the form of fulfillment. Do you see then why the Master cautioned against praying for food and clothing and housing? Do you see why he cautioned against taking thought for those things? Seek ye the realization of this presence. Seek only within your own consciousness for the constant remembrance that I am with thee. Fear not, I am with thee. And rest. Abide in that word. Abide in that consciousness. Fear not. Be not afraid. I am with thee. I will never leave thee. I will be with thee unto the end of the world. My presence goes before thee. Abide in this word, and then this Spirit of God will appear to me in the form of fulfillment for my life, and will appear in the form of fulfillment for your life. And yet the forms may differ. For what represents fulfillment to me may not represent fulfillment to you, or what represents fulfillment to me today may not represent fulfillment a year from now. But always see this. It is the presence of I in me. It is the recognition of the presence of I in me. It is the recognition of the presence of God in me. Be still and know that I am God. And therefore, as I am still and recognize the presence of this I within me, this infinite divine presence, be still. It then takes care of the daily bread, food, clothing, housing, joy, peace, safety, security, recognition, reward, whatever the nature of fulfillment is to be.